Good morning. I'm higher vibrations and so are you. There are a lot of increased ascension symptoms right now that a lot of people are having to do with a variety of things as well as intensity, stuff that we already had just getting to be more intense and more of a noticeable experience. I'm going to post this video without editing. I'm not going to add any of the normal subtitles, and I'm just going to see how it goes. This has been a difficulty of mine, is that it's kind of time consuming to add all of those subtitles. So we're going to rely on YouTube to do the correct subtitles for it. And if this isn't something that you all dig and you'd rather I go and edit, then we'll do it that way. Let's talk about some of the most difficult ones right now that people are having. It's this icky energy, feeling emotional energy of like irritability, just frustration, bouts of frustration. It's like, whoa, it's like a pendulum emotion experience. Over here, you're having a euphoria and elation, and then all of a sudden it's like, wah. There's this thing happening with a lot of people right now. It's expected, as we have all these awesome things that are coming in for us right now that are helping us in a healing way, bringing in more and more healing light. A lot of us are starting to see these things that need to come forward. And so we're having that lack of motivation on top of exhaustion, fatigue, like listlessness is the desire to move out stuff, just to relinquish your property of belongings in a lot of ways, but at the same time, not having that motivation or energy to do it, and it's still doing it in a lot of cases. There's this other thing too that a lot of people are having is, so there's this practice many people keep where they choose to not release their sexual energy, and that's seeming to be a difficulty for people. So allowing yourself to release that energy as you're having an increased drive, will assist you. It will. It's a release. It has a lot to do with the root chakra stuff. There's a lot happening with the lower three chakras, not lower in frequency exactly, just your root, which is the red one, the orange one, that's a sunset orange, that's your sacral chakra, and then the golden yellow one, which is your solar plexus chakra. Those three chakras are having a lot of stuff happening right now. Lots going on. A lot of memory has been stored there over the many lifetimes, not even just your lifetimes, the collective experience of life and things that have been left unresolved. So there's a lot of healing. Basically what we're doing is we move the furniture, and now we're like, oh, we need to clean this stuff up. There's stuff to be swept up, things that have been missing, things that had not been taken care of. There's that puzzle piece. Now I can complete my puzzle kind of stuff, okay? So letting that come up, noticing what area of your body specifically is having pangs helps a lot. So not just to say the divine feminine, the left side, the divine masculine, the right side, but also noticing this in a way of like, I'm noticing that my kidney is having some things, or my spleen, and it's not specifically a dis-ease in that organ. It's uncomfortable. There's something going on. To look it up online, go online, go to any kind of search engine and say what emotion is in correlation with this organ or this area of my body, and there'll be an emotion. And often we will notice that is an area of struggle that we've noticed in this lifetime, and perhaps those around us and things like that. So that helps. That's a guiding point. That's a guiding post for us and does help. There's a purging that has been, it's been difficult in a little bit in some ways, where we're having a lot of purging through the sinuses, purging through the lungs. Like it seems like an allergy in a way, like a pollen or some type of like seasonal allergy kind of thing. However, it's happening in places where it's not a seasonal allergy time, and it does feel different. It feels stranger. It feels different in some way. The acne stuff that's coming out, and not just just wherever. I'm noticing a lot around my neck as I'm opening more and more of this throat chakra. There's a higher throat. This particular activation, the higher throat activation, has been a very difficult one for a lot of people. Let's talk about that for a moment, where we're kind of in a place where, so communication and the barriers that we have in our form of communication, this language that we use, whether written or spoken, there's a lot of barriers there. And as we slowly move away from resonating with that, we are noticing that there is an increase in experience with difficulty communicating, effective communication, things getting lost along the way. The Tower of Babel comes to mind, where we're having a lot of this. People aren't fully understanding. It's difficult to convey your message. I'm noticing it very strongly on my side. I've historically been someone who can articulate and can communicate effectively for whatever group I'm communicating with. However, I'm finding this happening a bunch of times. A lot of misunderstanding, a lot of struggles. We're moving away from language, and we're moving away from the resonance of some of the topics that are being discussed. So when certain baggage that's being meant to be left behind as we board this next train of our awakening experience, that stuff comes up. There's like a misunderstanding. There's not a resonance there. There's not a resonating that occurs. And so that's happening a lot. So just keeping that in mind, it has caused, I've noticed, a lot of difficulty in friendships and other kinds of relationships as well. Interaction with other humans has become a little bit more difficult. So keep that in mind. Having a forgiving, grateful heart for having those individuals in your life, and just, letting it play itself out. I'm finding the need to pull back simply because I don't want to engage. And so that's something we're moving through right now. And that has to do with the higher throat chakra activation. This is one I actually didn't know about until it came to me, and I'm like, wow, this is something important to talk about. The dizzy, vertigo, lightheadedness stuff, usually having to do with, like, it seems like a popping kind of energy going on, as well as a fuzzy buzzy. Fuzzy buzzy is usually a good thing. Sometimes it feels kind of fuzzy in a disruptive way, or buzzy in a disruptive way, but for the most part, it's like a euphoric like sensation, which is pretty cool. We got a lot of head stuff happening. So for me, my headband goes here. A lot of people are talking about headbands a little bit lower and whatever. It doesn't really matter where it's at. We're talking about the same thing. So there's that band. Often it's one side or the other, keeping in mind the divine feminine on the female, the divine masculine on the male, whatever side is being affected, that's often the part you're anchoring. And this doesn't matter which gender you identify as. It has nothing to do with gender. It's divine masculine and divine feminine in all, whatever your gender. And so knowing that, allowing yourself to embrace what's coming through for you, the nurturing side of you as the female side, or the action logic side, those two are very important. That's a balance. And then when those two can completely balance, then we get to have the divine child, the golden Christ consciousness that does look like a V or a upside down triangle. And this energy comes down in this space here. This activates our throat chakra, our heart chakras. There are 3 heart chakras that are fully activated and coming online right now too. So there's a lot of heart palpitation stuff. There's a lot of weird acne and rashes and stuff around our face and our mouth and our neck. There's a lot of this miscommunication stuff happening. This is really good stuff, okay? This is all, we are finally sweeping the move from the old dilapidated house that maybe you've loved for a lot of lifetimes and been familiar with, moving into the awesome, much better, like utopian house that you're moving into next. And now we're noticing, okay, we've moved all of the furniture and now it's time to sweep. That's awesome. That's a great place to be. There's so much healing and recovery that you have done. And it's good job. Good job. It feels very much like we are being pat on the head and saying congratulations. So that rash stuff doesn't always have to be with the neck. There's a lot of rash experience throughout the body, specifically on your arms or legs. So this is the most common area. Some of these rashes, it can actually feel like a light burn. Even without a rash, people are having sensation on their hands and their body in different places where it feels like like a very light, very mild burn sensation, as well as this electricity thing. So a lot of people are feeling similar to being electrocuted. So that's something to consider. You know, it's not a violent electrocution experience. It's feeling that electric element, just like that movie Powder, becoming the electricity that we are, you know, and sensing and feeling it. A lot of energy around us is electric. We sense it and feel it in that poppy sound, and that's like the electricity that's coming in from that. It's really interesting to let yourself engage with that. I'm noticing more and more we have the static electricity experience. I actually just recently, I don't know if you can notice how dark my house is. This is the only side that we have electricity right now. I just did something. I was doing a meditation and all of a sudden half my house lost power. Maintenance came over. They don't know what's going on. They're going to figure it out. But in the meantime, here's a video. The chakras that are happening on our spine as well, all the way down from the base of your neck, so your brain stem, the top where your neck meets your head, all the way down each of the vertebrae, all the way down to the very base of your tailbone. All of these chakras are coming online, so we're having a lot of popping, snap, crackle, pop kind of stuff, and it's kind of, it feels good. To a lot of people, it feels like a relief. You can feel that alignment. It is alarming in a sensation that not expecting that sensation to come through. So keeping that in mind to not be alarmed, as well as a lot of joint stuff. So we're talking about every single joint. Yes, every one of your vertebrae, all of your back counts as these joints. In these joints is where a lot of this density energy has kind of collected itself, as we talked about before. Just like when you sage or smudge your home, using sound bowls, whatever it is you're doing to clear the energy in your house, you notice that it collects more in the corners. You know, it's in the corners of the house as well as the edges, the parts of the house over here where, you know, and in those corners, in those tight corners, that's where most of those energies kind of get stuck. And same is true for inside of our body. And so as we're moving this through, allowing yourself to notice the light of God coming down, usually down through your crown chakra, or just completely enveloping your whole body, like it's all this beautiful white light coming. And as that white light comes, allow it, direct it, guide it to those specific areas of distress. The shoulders, the elbows, the knees, the hips, all of these different areas. Neck, the neck stuff has become a big deal lately, the past couple of days. I was noticing it, and a lot of the people in our Telegram community have mentioned it. It's been something that's been happening. So allowing yourself to send that healing light to those regions will assist in the movement of that energy as we raise our frequency up above where it's existing at, you know, and where it's existing at is a great place. It's just that we're not going to be there anymore. We're moving now. And so we got to leave it behind. As we leave this behind, we're noticing a lot of grief feeling, mourning, sensation of loss, you know, just as you would if you had somebody who passed away almost. And so allowing yourself to embrace that feeling will relieve it. A lot of us have been trained and conditioned to ignore something so it'll go away, and instead that imprisons it. So allowing yourself to engage in what comes through, not grabbing onto it and going, this is mine forever, my precious. Instead, what we're doing is we're saying, you're true. You existed. You're a real thing. And, you know, thank you for your service. Thank you for all of the things that you've brought to me in this experience. Often these energies are things that really were a part of our team body and really assisted us to move to this next place. It's simply that we no longer harmonize. We're no longer in the same frequency. And so it's time to let it go. And so to say thank you. Thank you for your service often helps it to move, and acknowledging it. You existed. Really helps. This is the Archangel Michael message that we always get, and that is to acknowledge it without judgment and to release it. Releasing it with love as a way to compel it to move forward and out, and to guide it out. It wants to go just as much as anybody else. This is sometimes a sensation of a caged animal, and that just want to go. Weird skin stuff, surface of skin, tickly, buzzy, tickly, wiggly stuff. This has been really fun. Noticing the consciousness of our hair follicles. Each individual follicle of hair has an awareness. Weird, I know. And as this awareness is coming through, it's kind of communicating more with our body. And so we're having more of an electric sensation as a result. This electric sensation sometimes can be alarming. And so just letting yourself know that that's what's happening, and that to communicate and to like acknowledge it. Hey, neighbor, you know, it doesn't have to be a real big engagement. Other stuff with the mouth, a lot of mouth stuff. People are going through this again. And I think that it's not that they're going through it individually again. It just depends on where you are in your awakening journey. And so this mouth stuff is happening to people again. That happened. The separation of the teeth was the one that I found the most noticeable. My teeth had never had gaps before, and they started creating gaps. And as a result, it actually caused some damage to the teeth behind it, which really was inconvenient. A lot of people had that sensation at that time, and a lot are having it now again. So as this is happening, just sending the healing to it, it's asking you to speak your truth. All of this throat chakra, mouth, all of this area is saying to speak your true, authentic self, you know, and in whatever way you can. In some places, in some situations, we don't feel so inclined to do that due to a variety of different things, persecution, and consequences that we don't find favorable. And so allowing yourself to speak your truth in a group like ours. There's a lot of us, you know, that do this. It's a free Zoom meeting. We meet every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is a free meeting. I put the link every week in my community section of this YouTube channel, and let you know the day before the link for that. The link for that will be different every week in order to clear the energy and start anew. This is a place where you can speak your truth without having to feel like you are required to have your camera or your audio on. You can do whatever you're most comfortable with. This is to assist people in this throat chakra activation, to remove that sensation of being isolated and alone, and realizing how many of us there are out here, how many of us are fully online, fully aware, and coming out of our DNA is coming out of its dormancy. We are finding we're having more and more gifts, more and more clarity, knowing. You didn't realize you knew something until you knew it, and then you know it, you know, kind of a thing. A lot of visual stuff, seeing light orbs, seeing beings. I just saw a blue person in the store, like, and that person looked surprised that I saw them. So that's something. Anyway, and then just a lot of other kind of things happening with us with this visual stuff. We're noticing colors are becoming more vibrant. We're also able to notice the difference between someone who's fully awake and those who aren't by the complexion of their skin. The pigmentation is different. It's very interesting. Those who aren't awake just seem a little bit more of a grayscale. It's really weird. As well as these silhouettes. It's like a silhouette or a very faint white aura around a person, and just not able to see the person that's within for this moment. And a lot of other ways of just noticing that you're not alone, that there's people around you, that they're light beings that are in your team. They're part of your team light. They're here to support and guide you and assist you in every way that they can. They will present themselves more and more as you ask for them. Due to the law of free will, request or at least some type of consent is required. And so if you need somebody, just reach out. Ask for them to come. You know, I really do heavily rely upon the archangels and these energies that I'm familiar with, that I know are of the highest good. They're for your highest joy. And so presenting yourself and asking specifically for individuals who are there to do that for you will really help. I'm going to post this video without editing. I'm not going to add any of the... Please know that we are all feeling this frequency. We are all feeling this energy, and it feels raw. You kind of feel like a walking, gaping wound without even a scab yet. There's so much being healed and brought up, and it's asking for the release. Allowing yourself to cry will so help you in every moment. Laughter as well. I've been crying with joy. I've been crying in love. I've been crying in sadness. I've been crying and mourning. I've been crying and crying and crying here and there and everywhere. They're bouts. They're moments. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go ride a tricycle. Kind of feel like a little kiddo when you fall and scrape your knee kind of thing. Allowing that to happen. Allow that release to occur and to honor the healing and to honor the healer that you are. As you heal yourself, those around you, the collective, and the planet together, united as one. We are family. You are a member of the family of light that I am part of. And I am overjoyed at the presence of you. Please don't give up. We're almost there, dude. This is like the crescendo. This is the jumping out behind the couch and saying, surprise, we're here. You got this. Please don't give up. Join me. Join us. You are powerful. We are many. It is time. Thank you for your service. Aho blessings.